If you believe this video is helpful, please share it with others, and leave like or comment. According to a CBC News article published in 2016, nearly 70% students battle loneliness during school year, survey says. So what does this mean? First, this was based on a national survey across Canada with over 40,000 students participants. So this means it affected students across Canada. Second, Dr. Jordan Peterson had a student named Godwin whom Dr. Peterson believes as finding solution to loneliness in North America with Professor Dr. John Verveek as supervisor for 3-year testing of this solution. So to help viewers understand the meaning of nearly 70% students battles loneliness during school year, Godwin says, there are two kinds of loneliness, short-term loneliness and chronic loneliness. Short-term loneliness tends to go away on its own, so there is no need for anyone to battle with it. But chronic loneliness can stay with people for months or for years, so they would feel the need to fight it. By looking at words that were used for title of this CBC News article like battle and during school year, it is obvious the loneliness it was talking is not short-term but chronic loneliness. However, according to a study by 5 medical doctors, those who experienced chronic loneliness reported to be feeling hopeless and helpless. Please note, the subjects of this study were living in a senior's home, with people to talk to every day but still lonely. So this means having people to talk to cannot make loneliness going away for those with chronic loneliness. University professor Sonia Sedevi taught students, feeling is subjective, so nobody can say you are wrong for feeling cold or feeling hot. But feeling slighted is a feeling too. So as long as we know nearly 70% of students battle loneliness during school year, it would be wrong for us to assume students were only having short-term loneliness, otherwise students could feel being slighted or not get taken seriously. So we must take this seriously, as when students experience chronic loneliness, they can also be feeling hopeless and helpless, with no exaggeration, based on this study by 5 doctors. This is time for new solution. Godwin wants to say 2 things. 1. When nearly 70% of students battle loneliness during school year, can we say things are in perfect control or out of control? If things are in perfect control, then awards should be given to those who are getting paid to oversee student experience at school or university. But when things are out of control, it is up to parents and students to do something about it. 2. Godwin wants parents and students to think. If we assume the correct solution to loneliness is what can help a student to get out of loneliness, then we can say, nearly 70% of students were using or had been given a wrong solution. This can also mean when students said they need help to get out of loneliness, but in the end, students did not get a solution that could help them to get out of loneliness. Whether if the helper is psychologist, therapist, counselor or life coach, makes no difference. So what is the solution to loneliness for students? To understand what is the solution, you should listen to this story first. University of Toronto social psychologist Professor Dr. Roman Taffaroti taught Godwin, whenever you think you found something important, talk to people around you to see what they think. By keep talking to students, Godwin discovered, student loneliness has to do with students not following instruction. Why? Since most students Godwin spoke to from 2011 refused to believe Godwin found the solution to loneliness, unless Godwin could convince them first. You might think there is nothing wrong with students expecting Godwin to provide them with convincing argument. The problem is argument is something that is used to help people understand knowledge or theory, what can be learned by reading a book. Everyone has read a book before, and they should know reading a book cannot help them to get out of loneliness, otherwise no student would be lonely, as all students do is reading books. So how could students know Godwin has found the solution to loneliness? Fact check. Students can ask professors, not any professor, but the professors who believe Godwin found loneliness solution for most people. Why fact checking, you ask? I will answer with a good analogy. Have you heard celebrity from Hollywood adopting kids from Asia? After they grow up and tell people their father is a Hollywood star, how likely would you think people would believe them if they have no family photo? They can explain for 10 hours and no one would believe them. But only what the Hollywood celebrity that adopted them said can instantly make people believe this is true. So all students needed to do is fact-check with professors who believe Godwin found the solution to loneliness for most people, and then students could go to next step, find out how to learn the solution. The fact that Godwin never heard from these students again should be enough to prove students did not follow instruction to do fact check. Godwin had a chance to speak with a woman working for an agency to help unemployed people to find jobs. She said follow instruction is what we need to do to adapt in life, as employers fire workers that cannot follow instruction. But follow instruction is also how students learn skills or know-how, according to Dr. Verveek. For example, if students refuse to follow instruction, how can they learn to become Olympic athletes? Knowing who you should be following instruction from is even more important. Past record of success can be more important than what job title or advanced degree people are having. According to film about Steve Jobs, when Jobs was asked to help Apple Computer to turn things around, first thing Jobs did was firing everyone at the top, those with impressive job titles and education background. Why? Since job titles and advanced degree cannot automatically translate to record of success. So parents and students should ask this question: are there people that can be described as those who keep getting paid but repeatedly failed for years to help most students to get out of loneliness, regardless of job titles or impressive degree? If parents and students have trouble, they could ask professors for help, using different study method or survey, if necessary. This is important, because what makes chronic loneliness or feeling hopeless and helpless even worse, is false hope, what seems promising at first to help students to get out of loneliness except letting them down. There is such thing as a last straw, before a person decided enough is enough or giving up altogether. When there is a loneliness epidemic in North America, what you should focus on is not who everyone is getting their help from, but who some psychologists and professors believe is one having the solution, who most people never got help from before. There is no point doing what everyone else is already doing, if everyone else cannot get out of loneliness. To do that, please watch my video with a title called Where to Find Money, Loneliness Solution and Generation Jobless Solution based on research since 2001. So viewers know more about the solution and what instruction to follow.